Welcome to Small Biz, Big Wins, where every episode is a new journey into the heart of entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Summer Poquette, here to navigate the thrilling world of small business with you. Each week, we dive into the inspiring stories and joyful triumphs of real business owners. Get ready to be empowered with actionable advice, and most importantly, celebrate the spirit of small business. Let's dive into how every small victory shapes your big success. This is Small Biz, Big Wins. Let's make it happen. Welcome back to another episode of Small Biz, Big Wins. I'm your host, Summer Poquette. I've owned a small business since 2008, and over the years, I have learned a lot. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've tried things that didn't work. I've had successes. I've had failures. Being a business owner isn't a linear line. It's really more like a roller coaster ride. Some days I want off that ride, and other days I can't wait to get back on. If you can relate, you are in the right place. While most of the podcasts I record have guests sharing their roller coaster stories, today it's just me sharing some of my wisdom and advice. If you're a regular listener, I want to take a second. I want to thank you for your patience with me. There was a pause on podcast recordings, and it was unexpected. I had rotator and bicep cup surgery on June 3rd, and I anticipated returning to work after a week, but that did not happen. My plan for recording podcasts and jumping back on the horse after surgery was, in all honesty, it was wishful thinking. I ended up taking much longer to recover and then getting a really, really nasty virus that just took me down. When it rains, it pours. What I will say is I don't think I'll ever have shoulder surgery again. If I need it on my left, I don't think I'll do it. It has been painful. It has been emotionally and mentally challenging, and I'm still recovering with regular PT. The road to recovery from shoulder surgery, it is long. And if you've had it, you understand, and I am so sorry. But regardless, I digress. Thank you, listeners, for your patience. I am so excited to be back at the mic, bringing you great content to hopefully help your small business, because that is what Small Biz Big Wins is all about. So my surgery and my setback actually is an inspiration for today's podcast, and that is priorities. As a small business owner, every day you are wearing different hats. And if you don't have priorities, it's easy to do a whole lot of nothing. It's easy to do a lot of things that aren't producing income. It's easy to see a shiny object and, well, get sidetracked. And then you see a new shiny object and you really become a cat that's just chasing your tail. I've done this, but when I started taking the growth of my business seriously, I realized that it all comes down to priorities. And these priorities are super interconnected. And this episode is all about those priorities and how I personally break them down. You can actually download the diagram that I use as a reference if you subscribe to the newsletter. And I've also created a worksheet for you to create your own list of priorities and activities. I put the link in the show notes for you. There's a lot of helpful free downloads as well when you subscribe. For small business owners, there's a SMART Goals worksheet, there's social media tips, there's a Google business checklist, there's a lot. So make sure you check it out, subscribe, you'll get all the free downloads. But after this last month, these priorities became glaringly clear to me, which is why I wanted to share them with you and explain how I divide my time daily, weekly, monthly. So I have 5 priorities to help grow my business. And I really hope that by sharing these with you, describing the activities associated with my priorities, they will help grow your business too, or be a catalyst for you creating your own. I like to think of these priorities and all the associated activities as buckets. So maybe that will help you kind of visualize what I'm talking about when you're walking on the treadmill or taking a walk or in your car listening to this. These priority buckets are money making, prospecting, marketing, leadership, and personal development. So I have 5 priorities that I focus on every day, every week, every month for my small business: money making, prospecting, marketing, leadership, and personal development. Each of these priorities are important to help me stay in business. The money making priority, however, is vital, right? So daily, my priority is to focus on these different activities. So for me and my business, that would be client work and projects. The client pays the bills, they pay the payroll, they pay the tech subscriptions, the mortgage. And when they're taken care of, right? When priority number 1, which is money making for me, when the money making priority, which is my clients, when my clients are taken care of, everything else can fall into place. They're ultimately the very best form of marketing that there is. So priority number 1 for me, money making. And if I'm not taking care of my clients, if my team is not taking care of my clients, then the bills don't get paid. And then you have the negative reviews. And those are all things you don't want. So priority number 1 is always focus on money making activities, whatever it is for your business. So if you're a retail store, what is going to make you money? If it isn't going to make you money, then you shouldn't be doing it, right? So priority number 1 for me is money making, taking care of my clients. And it's important to remember that it is so much more cost effective for you to keep a client, keep a customer, than for you to spend money to retain a new client, which is why my number 1 priority is loving on my clients, offering my clients new services, making them happy. So each day, emails are answered from clients. Client work is done first and foremost, and then other priorities can be focused on. I can't focus on the other priorities unless my clients are being taken care of. This means that some days I'm only focusing on client work. This, as a CEO, is something I am working on transitioning myself from, so that my team is focused more on the clients and the project work, and I can focus on the other 4 priorities, which in turn grow my business. So priority number 2 for me would be prospects. When client work is done, following up with prospects, it is essential. Developing a process for this is important, and some of it can be automated. So if you don't have a process for collecting leads and following up, I really encourage you to do so. We use a software called Honeybook, and I've included the link to this in the show notes. It was originally designed, the software was originally designed for creatives, graphic designers, photographers, but I've used it for the past 5 years, and I really have adapted it to work for my agency. So we funnel all new prospects through our contact page on our website. So if you visit keepitrealsocial.com, you go to the contact form, you fill that out, which is a Honeybook form. And that actually, when you fill it out, you receive an email from us, and it goes into Honeybook. If the prospect or a project is a good fit, we follow up with them and we schedule a discovery session. We learn more about how we can help them. This then usually turns into a proposal, and then next, the steps of accepting the proposal, signing the contract, the payment, and then our thorough onboarding process. We use Honeybook from the contact phase of the process all the way through to the end of the onboarding process. So they sign the contract in Honeybook, they pay in Honeybook, everything happens in Honeybook. What I love about using Honeybook is it acts as a CRM database for Keep It Real Social. I can see all the people that have contacted us for work. I can follow up with them. If we aren't accepting clients, it acts as a wait list for our agency, and our auto response changes to let the prospects know that we will contact them and when we are accepting new clients. I can also weed out spam and tire kickers, which we get plenty of. And all new prospects are then put into my email list automatically. I sync them for continual lead nurturing. So keeping your sales funnel filled with potential new clients is super, super important. And it's an important part of building my business, just as following up with these leads and nurturing them is. So this is priority number 2 for me, and it is part of my daily, weekly, and monthly activities. So after the client work is finished, then I can follow up with the prospects, and which leads me to priority number 3, which is gaining those prospects. How does that happen? And priority number 3 for me is marketing. Now, if you're not marketing, you're not going to have any prospects to follow up with. Simple as that. People need to know who you are, what you do, who you serve, and why you do what you do. What makes you special? What makes you different? Marketing will look different for every single business, but for Keep It Real Social, the activities that fill my marketing bucket include community engagement, such as being involved in the Chamber of Commerce, speaking engagements, the podcast Small Biz Big Wins, social media activity, case studies, blogging, email marketing, and most importantly, local search engine optimization. When I am effectively marketing my business, then I know that I'm effectively marketing because I have an increased number of leads and contact forms that come in through HoneyBook. So it is a great indication when marketing is going really well for us. We will have 1, 2, 3, sometimes 4, 5 new contact forms, sometimes a day, sometimes a week, but the flow is continual. And even when we are not accepting new clients, I'm marketing us. It is so important to stay top of mind and to work on brand awareness continually. When you do this, it helps to keep the funnel full, right? So when you're not marketing, your opportunities for new clients, essentially they significantly decrease. And if a client leaves, you need to have others waiting to fill their shoes. And if you have a list of 50 potential new prospects, new clients, right? Out of those 50, I would say 80% of them might have moved on to someone else, or they decided to hire someone internally, or whatever, they went elsewhere. And so your list dwindles, but you need to make sure that you keep that list full so that you always have someone to follow up with and to replace that client. And so even if you're thinking, gosh, I'm so busy, I don't need to market. No, you do need to market. It's extremely important. You need to stay top of mind. You need to work on that brand awareness, because there is going to be a day where you're going to need that business. And it is much harder to get that business when you're starting from ground zero on the marketing front. So priority number 3 and the activities that we work on are extremely important. And that for me is marketing. Priority number 3 is marketing. Priority number 4 is leadership. Now, this is where, as a small business owner, you are focusing on your team building, your one-on-one meetings. You are working on building a company culture. You are working on the company's long-term vision, the finances. You're meeting with your accountant, your insurance agent. You're investing in new technologies, products, services. You're researching. To be honest with you, I find that this is the hardest priority for me to find time for, because I am so busy focusing on the money making and the prospects and the marketing. I'm going to venture to guess that many small business owners can relate to this, that when you're in that daily grind, it's so hard to work on your business because you're serving the clients. You're in the business, right? I get it. I really get it. It's why I'm personally trying harder to take myself out of the client management role so I can focus more on these other priorities, which all feed priority number 1, and that's the money making. If you're not making money, Why are you running a business, right? You might as well get a job. This priority is vital. And I know some small business owners have CEO days, or they might block off hours of their week for activities that are solely focused on leadership. When I first started Keep It Real Social, I actually would once a month book a hotel room or mark the day off on my calendar for a CEO day. And all I did that day was I would plan, I would look at the accounting books, I would research, I would create goals, I would develop strategies, short-term goals, long-term goals. Looking back, I think that was pivotal to help me grow the agency as quickly as I did. I'm now so busy that those days actually seem impossible to book, but this priority isn't less important to me because I have less time. For me, I now just have to squeeze these activities for this priority in creative ways. So I use quiet evenings in the evening hours. I stay late at work. I shut off my email. I turn on some music, and I might focus on that time kind of outside of the daily grind and the business hours. But it is still a priority. But before I share priority number 5, which is what I focused on this last month, I want to give a shout out to a Small Biz Big Wins podcast supporter, Harbor Bren Insurance Agencies. When I was working on leadership and growing my company last year, I took a really, really hard look at protecting it too, right? And that's under that priority number 4 of working on your business. And part of working on your business is protecting it. So Harbor Bren Insurance Agencies helped assess what my company's needs were for small business insurance. And thanks to Ashley Cartwright and her team, my small business is protected with the right insurance coverage. We weighed risks, and I'm going to put a link in the show notes to podcast number 9 with Ashley. It is a great episode dedicated to helping small business owners understand insurance because it's complicated and you don't want to have too much insurance. It's expensive, right? But you want to have the right coverage and you want to weigh the risks for your business. So Ashley covers it all on podcast number 9. So check out the show notes. I highly recommend it. And if they can't help you, they will point you in the right direction. These people are legit. I was so impressed with their service and helping my business actually save money. So I switched everything over to them for my small business, and it didn't cost me more. I saved money. I was so impressed that I then switched my personal line of insurance to them too. So visit harbourbren.com for more information or visit the show notes. Okay, so priority number 5 is personal development. For this priority, my bucket of activities includes attending conferences because I am a lifelong learner. I absolutely love learning. It includes reading books, it includes articles, it includes listening to podcasts, it includes taking care of my physical and my mental health. Overall, it is about taking care of my mind, body, and health so I can be the very, very best to serve my clients and my team. So over the last 2 months, I had only 2 priorities that I could truly focus on, and that was money making and personal development. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I had shoulder surgery on June 3rd, and then I got super sick with some random freaky virus. And my capacity for what I could do, it truly, truly boiled down to focusing on money making, personal development. So despite being ill and recovering, I had to take care of my clients and contracts. No doubt about that. That was first. Luckily, I was able to prepare to be out a few weeks. I thought I'd be out the max 2 weeks. I prepared for 2 weeks. I thought I'd be back after a week. And then luckily I had an amazing team to help me. I was out, however, much longer than anticipated. So my priorities really involved priority one, money making, and then getting better. This included rest. It included PT. It included getting healthy. And while I would have loved to have felt well enough to follow up with prospects, to record new podcasts, or to focus on any of the other 5 priorities, I had 2 that were most important for June. And sometimes this is just how it goes as a small business owner. You have to make decisions on what priorities you can focus on each day, each week, each month. And for me, when I'm personally developing, I'm better at the other 4 priorities. When I'm feeding my mind with new content to better myself as a business owner, I am energized to lead my team and to grow my business. When I'm learning about new marketing techniques and trends and strategies, I'm giving the very best to my clients and my team. Each priority is so interconnected, but there's no doubt that daily what bucket of activities I'm going to focus on might change based on needs, because someday there are more pressing needs than other days. And in the month of June of 2024, there were 2 needs, and that was I had to get better and I had to keep the money-making activities going. My clients needed love no matter what. So that's where you as a business owner need to decide what your priorities are and where you're going to focus your efforts to grow your business. What activities fall under your priorities? So, like I said, there is a free download. Just subscribe. The link is in the show notes, but I've included a blank worksheet for you to complete. So you can fill out your own 5 priorities and what activities there are for your small business in these buckets. I'll give you mine, right? I'm telling you mine. I'm sharing you mine. I'm giving you examples. But maybe yours will look different because you are a different type of business or you have different priorities, and that is okay. But what I can tell you is that whatever your priorities and activities look like, use it as your roadmap each day when you start work. So if something comes up to fill your time, make sure it fits into those buckets. If it doesn't, say no. Avoid those shiny objects and those distractions because they're just going to leave you at the very end feeling unaccomplished and defeated. So to end today's show, I want to leave you with a big win. If you're new to the show, at the end of each episode, myself or guest shares a small biz big win. This can be monetary, it can be an award, it is overall a success story of some sort. Anything that is inspirational to help a fellow small business owner, to help you. So for me, my big win is that I asked for help this month. I was sick. I was hurt. I could not do everything on my own. I hired a cleaning company to help me clean my house so I wouldn't try to do it on my own and get hurt. Because in the past, that is what I would have done. I would have just done it on my own. I let my friends bring me meals. I usually would decline those. I'm not one that asks for help easily. I have a do-it-yourself, can-do attitude. I always have. But when I say that this last month made my priorities glaringly clear, it's true. I had to focus on the personal development for June so that I could physically and mentally get healthy enough to run my business. And to do this, I had to ask for help and accept help. I probably could have asked for more help if I'm honest, looking back. But it was not easy for me. And in comparison to other times in my life where I needed help and I didn't ask, I'm actually really proud of myself. I'm proud I admitted I couldn't do it. I'm proud that I can look back and say, that these 5 priorities throughout this month of June became so glaringly clear to me that I wanted to share them with you, that I'm sharing this download with you, that I want to help you make sure that you're in alignment with your priorities and what falls under those priorities, what activities to help you stay focused. And I'm proud I could do that because I recognized what my priorities were. Again, they became very clear to me, and that I acknowledged that I had to focus on 2 only. I couldn't do more, and that to do that, I had to ask for help. And in the past, asking for help was like being defeated. And instead, I had to kind of like turn a switch in my head that it wasn't a sign of defeat, but it was a sign of acknowledgement that I'm human and that I'm sick and I am injured and I need help. And that to be the best I can be for my business, my clients, my team, my family, that I had to ask and accept help. So if you find yourself in a similar situation, I hope that having your priorities helps you and that you can also accept and ask for help when you need it. Friends, again, thank you for your patience with me, for choosing to listen to Small Biz Big Wins. I appreciate you. And I hope that you found value in what I've shared today. The link to subscribe and get these free downloads are in the show notes. And if you like what you hate, if you like what you hear, if you love what you hear, please share this with other business owners and leave a review. It really helps others find the pod and learn alongside you because we're all in this together. We're all trying to run our small businesses successfully. And if you want to be a show supporter and sponsor the pod, please take a moment to email summer@keepitrealsocial.com. This is also in the show notes. But until next week, focus on your priorities. And if you don't have them, hey, this is your chance. Get the download, write them down, and get to work.